Here's Max wishing you good luck on writing your final assignments. All right, Max. You can run away now. Thank you for your help. All right, so the final assignment is not as scary as it seems. There are 5 components to it, and I will go through them in detail right now. The final assignment is due June 19th by midnight. I understand that you might have competing deadlines. If that's the case, please send me an email so we can discuss possible extensions as soon as possible. All right, just general guidelines. You will have to follow APA formatting for this paper. That means it has to have a title page and it needs to be double spaced. And all statistics have to follow the correct spacing and italicization. I've shared multiple examples of that throughout the semester, and I'll give you some more examples in week 6. The tables and figures that are required can be incorporated into the text, and overall your paper will be about 6 to 7 pages of text. I'm not going to enforce this limit, but if your final write-up is more than 10 pages of text, you're probably adding too much information that you don't need. As you saw this past week with the assignment 4, when we present our statistical results, it's only a few sentences per research question. You should not be writing several pages worth of text. A few sentences is all that is needed. All right, part 1 is just presenting your 3 research questions. You've already developed the t-test or NOVA, or the non-parametric alternative research question, last week. This week you're going to develop the 2 others that you need, a chi-square test and a correlation question, and that's all you have to include in that first section. Just list your 3 research questions. The methods section is going to be a bit longer. Most of this is going to be new. So first, you're going to need a paragraph or so that describes the data set. So how was it collected, from whom, how are the participants selected for inclusion, and you can get all of that information very quickly from the resources I provided under the final assignment webpage. Just make sure you're citing where you get the information from. The next section, and you're going to have a subheading under methods for this that's going to be labeled measures, is where you're going to describe the measures. So that's where you're going to describe each of the variables that are within your research questions. So how is each variable operationalized? For instance, if your one of your variables is students' gender, then you can say that gender was operationalized based on the biological definition of sex as either male or female, and has a nominal level of measurement. So that's what operationalized means. How is it measured? And then make sure you specify for each one the level of measurement. And if you're using that attitudes towards substances scale that we developed as a class, make sure that you also report Cronbach's alpha, which we calculated together in week 3, because it shows the validity of that measure. All right, the next subsection within the methods section is going to say participants. And this is going to be just a quick paragraph where you're going to explain how many participants are in this data set. So look at the data view at how many people have answered the questions. The answer is 1,500. It's exactly how many participants are in the data set. And then I want you to give the age, gender, and racial breakdown of the sample. So I want you to provide the descriptive statistics for age, gender, and racial breakdown. All of those variables are either nominal or ordinal, so make sure you're reporting frequencies, not means or averages and standard deviations. The last section within the methods section is going to be called data analysis or analysis plan. And that's where you're going to explain for each research question what the most appropriate statistical test is and why. So if you're using a t-test to answer a research question, you're going to tell me it's because your independent variable has two categories and your dependent variable is continuous. And then for each research question, you're going to tell me whether or not you have met all of the assumptions for that test. Unless it's a non-parametric test, in which case you don't need to do that. Next, we come to part 3, and the good news is that a lot of part 3 you will already have done through assignments 4 and 5. The first subsection within the results is going to be your descriptive statistics. This is where you're going to provide the appropriate descriptive statistics for every single variable used to answer the research question in words. So, for instance, if GPA is one of your variables, you're going to say the average GPA of the sample was whatever it was, and then in brackets, you'll probably have the standard deviation. All right, so for all of those variables, I want the descriptive statistics in here, and I want one table that summarizes all of those descriptive statistics. So you'll remember in one of your assignments how you developed a table which had both continuous and categorical variables all together. You will have to do that for this section. So just one table with all of those variables in it that are part of your research questions. And then you're going to actually provide your results. So for each research question, you're going to present the results of the SPSS analysis in words. So you're basically going to copy and paste over what you wrote in your weekly assignments into the final assignment. Just make sure you fix anything that we identified as missing in the feedback provided to you for assignments 4 and 5. You will have to create a graph or table to present the results of each research question. Just make sure that the graph or table you present matches the type of test. And in week 6, I will provide you with lots of examples of tables that you can use, and you can just copy the table over and put in your raw numbers instead of the numbers that are there. Make sure all figures and tables are with APA formatting. The second last part is the discussion. So in this section, you're going to provide me with the implications of your findings. So for each of your research questions, what do the findings mean for social work practice? What can we do differently based on these findings? For instance, in the weekly examples, we looked at the correlation between number of siblings and GPA, and we found there was a negative correlation there. So one of the possible implications for this is that we need to provide before school and after school quiet spaces for some students to use, especially those who might have lots of siblings that can't or don't have a quiet space at home where they can study in peace. If you found any non-significant results, think about some of the research reasons why they might be not significant. So is it possible that type 1 or type 2 error was at play? Is it possible that the questions being asked might have been influenced by social desirability bias? Or was there a lot of missing data for those questions? Or could be that the question was just worded in a way that wasn't the best. For instance, our age variable is only under 18 or over 18. The wording of that variable leaves a lot to be desired. We're missing all those options in between, 12 and a potential high of 20. with the way that that variable is coded, and that could definitely impact whether we find significant or non-significant findings. And lastly, you need to submit your SPSS output and syntax file as appendices. So label your output file Appendix 1 and your syntax file Appendix 2 or something like that. They can be separate documents, and make sure you only submit the relevant output and syntax files. Please don't submit any duplicates or practice runs that you might have. Only what is reflected in your final assignment. If I have to search through your output to find where you answered your research question and I can't find it, you're going to lose points. So make sure you don't lose points by labeling everything clearly and only including the last final relevant analysis. Delete everything that is irrelevant for me, please. If you have any questions, I'm always available for one-on-one chats or through the weekly 2 p.m. Sunday tutorial session.